and stuff you don't. It's the Ben and Bren Show.
Jasha Klebe,
Hi there.
welcome to the
Thanks
Ben and
for
Bren
having
Show.
me.
We're stoked to have you. How's life?
Life is good. It's been tiring at the moment. I've
Yeah?
been on 2 projects. So
Right now you are working on
yes, I just finished one. I'm in the middle of another, and they both had deadlines around the same time. So
As
it's
it
been
always
very
goes.
late nights getting things across.
them? Yeah. Are they things that you can talk about or are still under wraps?
I can talk. One of them's a Netflix doc series, true crime.
Okay.
It's about all I can say about it, but it should come out next probably couple months.
Is it like true crime in any particular area?
They're hunting down someone.
Okay.
That's kind of the gist of it.
Nice.
And we all kind of know the story more or less, but
Like the culture?
yes,
Okay. It's like
yes.
a popular.
Yes.
Okay. Nice.
Yes, we will all be very familiar with
not OJ.
what's happening.
Gotcha.
Not OJ.
I actually did sort of recently, within the last like 6 months, watch that OJ documentary.
Yeah.
The 11-part one?
Netflix, like the one from like a handful of years ago.
That one was from 2016,
Yeah,
I think,
yeah,
the
yeah.
one that you watched. Yeah.
I didn't realize how because I was born in '90, so like I was so small when all that happening. I didn't realize OJ was like such a huge cultural figure. Like that dude was like huge, and then it's so crazy in that documentary. He just became, not that he maybe wasn't always, but like didn't care at all by the end of his years. Just a total degenerate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like a piece
Stealing
of
his
shit.
own merch or his own fucking trophies back.
Yeah,
And,
like-
going to jail for that. Like,
Yeah.
Talk about a fall from
Nuts.
grace.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's why I was so. I think sad for people because he was put on such a huge
Yeah, people
pedestal.
love
and
that
he
dude.
Loved him, and
He
then
was also
he-
fine as hell too when he was younger. Yeah, like so hot. Football. When
You got a thing for
early
murderers.
days. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
your
Back
type.
way back when. Yeah,
Way-
when he was growing up. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. That was crazy stuff. But the footballers, man, getting slammed in the head.
Yeah, that'll
It makes
fuck
you
up.
kill shit. Makes you want to. Yeah.
That dude Aaron
Hernandez.
Hernandez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a long list of people that have been in contact sports like that have either killed themselves or ran their car off the road or, murdered Nicole Brown Simpson, allegedly.
I mean, the facts are pretty presented at this point. I think we can
they are.
avoid the allegedly on that one.
but it is what it's been football really that's done that. It's the collision, I guess, aspect of it because
Yeah.
CTE.
yeah,
Chronic traumatic encephalopathy.
yeah.
There you go.
I watch a lot of docs,
Yeah.
Joshua. All right? Yeah.
You watched the Hernandez one too, obviously.
Yeah, I did.
I pitched for that one.
Yeah?
Did not get it.
Yeah.
Their loss.
But I remember
Could have been better.
No, because like I was a gymnast for 15 years. You don't see gymnasts that are like
Oh, crazy.
murdering people.
Yeah,
that I'm
it's
aware
true.
of.
Yeah.
It's true.
It might be, but
Yeah.
It's a smaller ratio.
Yeah.
If there are.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's arguably head trauma there too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Did,
Yeah.
What type of gymnastics did you do?
All 6 events. I
All
did
6 events,
yeah.
and those are
vault bars,
vault. Okay.
vault bars, pommel horse, parallel bars, high
You did
bar.
pommel horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did all 6.
Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, that was 16 years of my life.
So that was like all growing up.
Yeah, I started when I was, what was I, like 6 or something like that, 5 or 6. Competed up through the end of high school. I kind of thought, I mean, Olympics was like my
Wow.
goal with everything. I was competing internationally and everything, and
Crazy. I had no idea.
then my last year I shattered my ankle, like hyperextended my elbow and my knee, broke my thumb.
It all at
toe.
one
It all
time,
just
or
kind of, it all just had a bad year, and it was just very hard to come back. And
Damn.
at that point,
the universe
I
was like, you're meant to be a composer.
Yeah.
it was either at that or I was also doing like fine art. So I thought I was going to be an artist at that point, going into college. And then
So it was like right at like the college mark.
yeah. And then I remember I didn't I don't know. I thought I was going to get, what was it? What are they called? In high school where you are taking those like higher level classes of things, the AP classes.
AP class, yeah.
I was in like an AP art, and I thought I was going to pass the exam. I was like, okay, this is my thing, and I got like a 2. And AP
classes are hard.
That was me saying, all right, you're not a good artist. Like, time to move on to something else. So I'd always been doing piano alongside gymnastics, and my piano teacher hated that because I would like break my thumb, and then I wouldn't really practice. And
we have a little parallels there. I think it's a natural progression for a gay little boy to do gymnastics and piano, because that's exactly what I did.
Oh, did you?
I
Yeah.
took gymnastics. Sort of. It was almost a hybrid. It was gymnastics with a little jazz dance, mixed in there. I learned how to do a cartwheel. I quit piano for like a year to do gymnastics. Idiot. And was not good. Never been I can learn choreography and like do thing, but yeah, I learned to do a cartwheel very well indeed. I think I still can do a cartwheel very well, but then went promptly back to piano.
Yeah.
Did you do any like the bars or anything, or?
No, it was strictly just like, I don't even remember. It was
Just
it was
cartwheeling
very
around.
little. It was just cartwheeling around. Yeah.
Somersaults.
Yeah. I was terrified to do even attempt to learn to do like a backflip or anything like that. Like I had this like fear, and still do, of like just landing on my head wrong and just like breaking my whole spine.
You just have
It's
to
a
land on your
valid
head
fear,
once, and then you're fine. Then you get what to do.
Yeah.
You learn how to protect yourself again. I mean, it's great discipline. I attribute all those years of gymnastics to, I think, me even being able to survive in this music industry because of just the hours of kind of time and dedication you have to put towards something. And so it kind of just, I understood that you don't have a life sometimes, and if you want to achieve something. So, I mean, it's because I was training 4.5 hours a day, 6-7 days a week, competitions. I would leave school early. I didn't do PE or any of those things because I had that waived because I was training. And so then kind of when I went into music and specifically came to LA, I understood that you can work until the wee hours and do it all over again, and you have to do that and have to have that dedication.
What does the gymnastics training look like? Like, I mean, it's so intense to see people on the horse thing, or the what do you call them? The
Pommel horse.
Pommel horse,
the pommel
vaults.
horse thing. Yeah.
All of it.
And all of it, really. I mean, is that just doing your routine over and over, the training itself, or are you also lifting, doing Pilates, like stretching all the time?
We did
like
do some Pilates. We did some ballet as well.
Yeah.
It's a lot of just conditioning and muscle training. I mean, it becomes like riding a bike. When you're eventually going up there in a competition, your body's just in autopilot at that point, doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's because you've done so many repetitions of it, which is why you look at someone like a Simone Biles when she had her thing in Tokyo Olympics. That's a scary thing, because then your body is not in autopilot anymore. So suddenly you don't know what you're doing, and that's what makes it really freaky.
Yeah.
So no, it's just it's repetitive. You're constantly building up. So once you've mastered one skill, then you can look at doing what's the next thing. How do you add another flip, another twist, another all of that? But you kind of have to really know your basics, which is not unsimilar to music, right?
For sure.
You have to have your foundation there to even go beyond that to really
Totally.
explore more. So it's just years and years years of training.
Yeah.
really.
I mean, that's like what's so crazy about just athletics in general, is how huge the mental aspect of it is. Like, it's like, I'm not an athlete, but like, even if we go play tennis or like just like do some just fun sport activity, like if I start playing bad, it's like, so it could be so difficult to
Come back from
get
that.
out of that. Like, I'm just sucking mental place. Beat the racket.
Oh, I've thrown some rackets in my day. Yeah,
They're so
some golf
throwable.
clubs. Yeah, I get a Happy Madison. Yeah, Billy Madison. Yeah.
Tennis is hard. I
yeah.
cannot do tennis. Like
Tennis is
there's too
hard.
much running. That's why I liked gymnastics. There wasn't that much running.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did soccer too, and I'd sit by whatever the two in front of the goal was, the defenders or whatever you call them.
Yeah.
I was just there picking dandelions. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to fucking
Yeah.
run.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
This is not for me. So
Yeah, I'm not a runner either.
What were the parents like? Was mom like stage mom, gymnastics mom?
my parents were pretty. I mean, they were definitely there at the gym. You would see
Involved,
them.
yeah.
No, my parents were just. Neither one of them did gymnastics. Neither
Yeah.
one of them really did sports. So I think
Yeah.
they were taking my sister to gymnastics before me, and I just was going with my mom, and I was like, well, I want to go out there too. So I don't know. They were very supportive. I mean, when I wanted to quit at that point, they understood it. I think they were tired of
Yeah.
taking us to gymnastics every day and going to all the events and things. So, no, I'm lucky to have very supportive parents with that, where they just, I think saw the importance in allowing your kids to try things, and and especially in that time when after school, rather than kind of maybe allowing me to run around and potentially get into trouble, I had to go be disciplined somewhere. So
What did you were playing piano at the same time?
Yeah.
When did you start that, and what was your favorite like stuff to play, or what was the method of teaching that you took?
I started when I was 5, I think. My grandparents own an opera house in my hometown.
I thought I was going to ask you. I remember that.
And so my grandpa was an opera singer. He passed away when I was about 10 from cancer. But it was kind of like you going to Grandma and Grandpa's house was going to their theater. They had bought an old schoolhouse called Cinnabar, and they turned it into kind of more intimate opera house space. And they also did musicals and plays and whatnot as well. But my grandpa had sang in Paris and San Francisco, and he just recognized how inaccessible he felt opera was to just general public, just by the cost of tickets, he didn't necessarily care for the demands of how the big opera companies ran these productions. So he really wanted to just provide an outlet where it was something he enjoyed, and also tickets could cost $45, $50 to go see the opera instead of $100 plus. So that's what they set out to do. And they were very successful for a long time. They unfortunately have just kind of had to part ways with it within this past couple months.
that recently.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's continuing just under like another branch basically, but it's now since left the the red schoolhouse that they did. But I mean, being around that, like I said, going to Grandma and Grandpa's house was going to a theater. So we'd run around on the stage, we'd dress up in the costumes, I'd see the musicians, and I was in operas. I was in like Madame Butterfly when I was 4 or something like that.
Nice. And this was in Northern California, right?
In a town called Petaluma.
And what's that near?
It's like Sonoma County area.
Oh, okay.
So about 45, 50 minutes north of San Francisco.
So nice. We were in Sonoma. That was my first time in May for a wedding in Healdsburg.
Yep.
It was so nice.
It's very
It
pretty.
was so awesome. Yeah.
Very pretty. It's, it was a nice place to grow up. It was nice to like, I don't know, I didn't recognize until much later in life how different it was to grow up with something like what my grandparents had, and feel very fortunate that was there for me.
For sure.
And that's what got me into music, obviously, and being around that. But I also, it's like I enjoyed playing piano, but I also recognized, in college, I definitely recognized, I went to college for 2 years and I dropped out.
What school?
Sonoma State University.
Okay.
My piano teacher was the teacher there, and I kind of got a full ride there, so it was just
nice.
easy to go there, live at
Take
home.
that money.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's just I recognized that I wasn't going to be some classical pianist. I wasn't. I hated playing Bach. I hated playing anything that was too regimented. I just wanted to like be emotional and be free with it. So I mean, I enjoyed playing anything romantic, anything Chopin and Debussy.
Same.
Like,
We're in the same boat.
anything that
Yeah.
didn't require like.
Yeah.
You had to be 2 in time. I was
Yeah,
much
yeah.
better at.
Yeah, Bach is. Sorry, Bach.
I mean,
Not
it's
for me.
there's beauty in it. I can recognize it. I think later, but
Thought it
I
was
just
pronounced
I
batch.
I always wanted to do my
It's
own
batch.
thing.
Yeah.
It's
batch.
But yeah, I wanted to do my own thing, and I don't know. I just started to watch movies and pay attention to music more and go, I want to do that. So
Yeah.
When did you start writing?
in college, in like I guess it was my freshman year, I got Finale, which no longer exists as of this
Literally,
week.
Doesn't
like
exist
just
anymore?
Well,
As of this
you
week.
didn't see this? Like,
Oh, no.
This has all happened within the music community. I remember I woke up the morning and like everybody was posting all these Finale memes. I'm like, what the hell happened? And like apparently like Finale is just like done and like is not going to exist anymore.
Yeah.
What a perfect name for a company that's going to cease
Yeah,
to
Truly, I
exist.
didn't even think about
They
that.
knew.
Yeah, they set the tone immediately from the inception.
One day this will all be gone.
nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
With the foresight.
Wow.
So just like writing at the piano, like was it writing for anything specifically?
Yeah, no, it's just like I mean, I thought it was so cool having Finale up. I was like, wow, like I have these like fake strings I can use, and it sounded like shit.
Yeah.
like now I know it sounds like shit, but it was so cool to actually be able to do that and hear things back.
For sure.
And then once I had moved to LA when I was 19, and I started at Hans Zimmer's place. I very quickly realized, I was like, oh no, you need to have something else. Got Logic Pro. I was like, wow, this is completely different.
Yeah.
I mean, I've since switched over to Cubase, but yeah, I mean, that was. I think having been in music for a long time, I at least knew what things needed to sound like, which I think very much helped me, especially in early days of, when so much of this is relying on how you program things and whatnot. And I'm totally anal about how things need to sound. It's like strings have to sound real as fuck. Otherwise, I am not interested. It's not working. Even if I know it's going to be played and replacing things, I take a lot of pride in how crafting it to make it sound as realistic as it can.
For sure. So what was that process like going from college to LA? Like how did you get introduced to Hans's company? Like what was that? Like when you decided to leave school?
Yeah, so this is when my gymnastics and music crossed. I was a gymnastics coach at that point, as like my, job outside of school. And I was coaching a kid whose parents had worked for Hans like 10 years prior. And so they had found out, I can't remember how, they found out somewhere that I wanted to do film music. So they put in a call to the studio and set up like an interview. And so I packed my bags and I think I thought the internship was going to start in the summertime. So I was like, I'm going to go down for the summer, have this internship. It's going to be great. And then I got there and they said, great, we can't have an internship yet. We can start in the fall. So I just decided at that point I wasn't going to go back to school and I would just do that because I didn't have any connection in industry. I felt like, I mean, this is Hans fucking Zimmer. Like,
this is the
this
is the window of opportunity.
And again, this is where my parents are very supportive. They're like, sure, you can come back to school. So I used leftover scholarship money.
Nice. Well
paid
played.
for an apartment in LA
Nice.
to do that. And the internship lasted. They didn't want to keep me on. They said I was too quiet.
Haters.
And so I begged.
They said you were too quiet.
Yeah, they said I was just very.
Like wouldn't speak up when they needed input, or you're just a quiet person and
I think they just thought
them?
I was a quiet person. They couldn't really tell if I was wanting to be there, I guess,
Okay.
from the impression they got. So I was like, no, I want to be here. I don't want to return back to
You
school.
were just like, no,
let
I'm
me
just
stay
a
here.
sweet, good boy. I'm just a sweet boy.
Basically.
Yeah.
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 And so they did keep me on. And then, the quiet thing came up again over the next 2.5 years. I was a runner for 2.5 years at that point. So you're doing anything and everything.
Yeah.
Cleaning the bathrooms, getting the groceries, cleaning up the studios. I can make a really mean fruit platter for clients.
Nice.
Good.
I
It's a
think
good
they started to be
side skill.
like, don't get rid of him because he can do these things really well and it looks really presentable.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, or you mean choosing the right fruits?
Both.
Both.
Both are
Absolutely.
equally important.
Not a lot of melon, I would say, is in your.
Who the fuck wants melon?
Right. It's all filler.
It really is.
I do like some melon.
I like melon too, but don't give me don't charge me for the fruit tray when you're going to put 2 blueberries and a strawberry in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a whole cantaloupe.
And a whole cantaloupe.
yeah.
Watermelon, fine. I'll take
I
watermelon.
love some watermelon.
Yeah.
I went to Whole Foods the other day and got a watermelon and sliced it open, and it was fucking yellow.
Oh,
I was like, God damn it.
jaundice melon.
Well, no, they're like, there's actual yellow
Yeah, it was
okay.
supposed to be yellow.
watermelons.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like, but the inside of it is
Yellow.
wasn't pink yet. It was yellow.
Aren't they
Well, that's what
sweeter?
they're supposed to be. Like, they're like
Oh,
yellow
okay.
watermelons.
Huh.
But still tasted good. But I
Wow.
want to see that red lushness.
You ever put tahini on your watermelon or any fruit for that
Very
matter?
spicy.
We've been making this salad. Actually, really, Vanessa's been making this salad that's really good. It's watermelon, feta cheese, olives, and cucumber.
Very Mediterranean of you.
It is super Mediterranean. It's delicious. It's like super refreshing.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love a Mediterranean meal. I love watermelon. I love a watermelon feta salad.
They
If
go
you've ever
very
had
well together.
It makes me want to sit on the beach and wax my pussy, So
It's a good summer activity.
I feel
That-
rich.
that's what everyone does.
A
all summer.
watermelon feta
very
salad.
European.
Yeah, a watermelon feta salad is rich. I feel wealthy.
Yeah.
I feel fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're meant
You
for
get
the finer
spoiled
things.
living in LA with like.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's easy to forget that we really do get very good produce and things living
Yeah.
here. Like,
Yeah.
you can live a very nice life here.
And generally speaking, like restaurants serve like healthier food than like, because we come from the South, so it's kind of food deserty in some ways, like in terms of getting
In the
like,
South?
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
the healthy food for
healthy
sure. I mean,
food.
the food there tastes good.
every
but it'll
restaurant
clog
you
your
go
arteries
to
real quick.
I mean, even restaurants too, like everything's fried. Even the salads have fried chicken on them. It's like it can be difficult.
ranch with
sometimes.
everything,
And
all the sauce.
I've got
all the
ranch in
sauce.
my fridge all day long. Yeah, but
Important.
It is good
yeah,
though. I
yeah.
do love.
Are
some
you a
fried
ranch
food.
guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a sauce person in general.
Sauce. Yeah, yeah.
My husband does not put sauce on anything. It drives me insane.
Oh, that's-
Every time the sauce comes, it's like, no, use the sauce.
That-
You always need the sauce.
Yeah.
That's a little psychotic. Yeah.
What's also psychotic is he watches those true crime docs
I knew
every
it.
single morning.
I knew it.
I wake up, he's just busy watching another like husband murders their wife or whatever. And I'm like, yep, that'll be me one day.
Yeah.
I will be on this.
Yeah,
dead.
you gotta start looking out.
Wow.
I saw a funny meme the other day that was like a psychologist or somebody was like, it's like a big red flag if your leisure
Yes.
time is watching,
If you enjoy
like,
the true
serial
crime.
killers
Yeah.
or something like that.
All he watches.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I don't. That's my least watch genre because I'm a documentary nerd. But that's the least watch or that I care about. the
Really?
most.
I like a true crime. I
like it. That's
I
the
like
last one
a
I've hit.
like scripted, dramatic crime show. Have you guys
Mm-hmm.
seen Presumed Innocent? It's like a newer
The Jake Gyllenhaal. I haven't seen it yet.
Great.
Yeah.
It's great. We just started watching that new Penguin last night.
Yeah.
That's
That got rave reviews, right?
it's good.
supposed to be
Yeah.
very
It's
good.
just I don't know if they put the whole thing, but we just watched the first episode.
Mm.
This is a documentary. What's the name of it? The dude in New York.
The Jinx?
The Jinx. Did you watch
Oh,
The Jinx?
of course.
Yeah, that somehow flew under the radar for me.
You didn't
I never saw it.
Well, now you saw both parts,
Watched
right?
both.
I
both
haven't
seasons.
I haven't completed it. I watched the first season years ago when it came out, and then I've completely forgotten the story, and so now I need to go back and watch.
It's
both.
crazy. It is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the last 5 minutes of it crazy. Like, that's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
what it's
Of
about.
the first season.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You're just like,
Yeah. Oopsie. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And then the second season is pretty much like a courtroom,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
Aftermath.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
how do we
yeah.
wrap this together?
But okay, so back to the LA journey. When was it in your course of being at Hans's company when it was like, okay, you're starting to write music, you're starting to work on the creative end of things? How did that all kind of come about?
So at one point, I was told that I was like fucking wallpaper, and I never said anything. And and that was about 2.5 years in, and I was like, right, you got to start fucking saying something, I guess, because this isn't working. You can do a really good job, but I guess I have to show more something. So I remember the next day, at that studio, you could go and ask composers in the various rooms, can I sit in and watch you? And I remember asking like the studio manager, who said, well, does anyone ever ask Hans to watch and sit in? And they're like, people don't really do that. So I did. So I was like, well, you want me to talk? Here I am.
Yeah.
So I did. And he let me sit in. I'm trying to think. I think it was Sherlock Holmes, I believe, that was happening at the time. And I just kind of watched his process. And it was interesting. When I started at Hans' Place, it's like I very much loved Pirates of the Caribbean. I appreciated that music, but I didn't know if that was necessarily my style. I was very much a big James Newton Howard fan, and he has a very romantic musical style with the string writing and things. But very quickly, I fell in love with, I guess, how Hans storytell and his process, and recognizing that there is far more ways to write music than just using the conventional orchestra that's put in front of you. And that's very much a part of my process now. I thrive in finding different instruments and creating different sounds, and having that direction from the very beginning. But yeah, so I sat in with Hans and it was only for probably an hour or something like that. But then from there, I think I just started speaking up more, to be honest. And at one point we did the Oscars, and he was like the musical director. And so it was put in front of me to start mocking up some of the scores that they would go and record and play out if the film won and whatnot. And that's when I think he took notice of just like I could program really well. And the thing sounded really good in that regard. So then he kind of tasked me with doing everything with that. And I ended up playing piano at the show.
Like on the performance?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
nice.
I went to all the rehearsals. I remember that was one of the first times that he put me on the spot where we were at Capitol Records, like recording. You had to like kind of do pre-records of everything. And I thought I was just going to sit there and kind of mime something. I thought I just need to like mime a synth part or something. And they put these like piano parts in front of me and said, well, I remember he looked at me and said, he saying, well, I hope you took piano lessons. And thank goodness I did.
Yeah.
And I like did it. And I, during the break.
Was the music really hard? Was it a hard thing, or was it pretty easy to sight read in that moment? Or
I mean, I was a terrible sight reader, so I was just pleased that I like made it through. And I wouldn't say it was like
got enough
for
of
a
the notes
kindergartner.
right.
Yeah, it wasn't a nothing part. And I mean, I remember him even saying, he's like, well, thank your mom for those piano lessons. Good job. I was like, all right,
good
did
feedback.
It.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of my showing that I could do more than make a fruit platter. And then he gave me a room, and the first project I wrote on was Dark Knight Rises.
It's a good first one.
Yeah, I was kind
I've
of
heard of that.
obsessed with
Yeah.
The Dark Knight, and probably saw that like 10 times in the theater. So to like work on the next one was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. Totally
Cool.
And I mean, I remember because James Newton Howard wasn't going to be on that one. I was like, I'll do anything that James Newton Howard would do.
Yeah.
Any other string emotional stuff, let me do that. Which that ended up being kind of what I did on that project. And from there I kind of just kept earning a bit more, I guess grounds to write on other things as well beyond that. Wrote on Rush, wrote on what was it, The Lone Ranger, wrote on this feels so long ago now. Rango a little bit, wrote on I don't remember now.
So when you say wrote, you like there's a team of people that you're working with to compose certain segments of the film, right?
Yeah.
So you're assigned a certain segment, or do you all come together and go, hey, I've got this idea for this part, and you just kind of put your
we would
together?
you would work with Hans and music editors, and you would start to be kind of assigned certain areas and sections.
Yeah.
You were usually obviously be given a sound palette to be working with. Hans would be writing suites of material. So you kind of had a musical direction. And then you would do things. Hans would come in and tell you if it was great or if it was shit and start over. And a few times there was a few times when like I know he didn't like it, but we still had to present it, and then the director might have liked it, so then it made it a little awkward. And then we had to like find the happy balance of, obviously, you know, it's Hans's film, make Hans happy, but then the director's already happy with it, so now what do you do?
And typically, I mean, Hans's work is amazing. Is it typically his idea in terms of the main theme or motif, and then you guys are the sections having to sort of pull that out or extend that? I mean, obviously it's different from project to project, I would assume, but is he coming up with a lot of the overarching like themes or motifs is what I'm asking, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it does. It depends on project to project, and there's a lot of, you know, I think anyone that comes in this industry should be able to recognize that, you know, it's impossible to do 3 movies at once by yourself.
Yeah.
And it's you need a team in order to achieve this. It's, you know, I have a small group of people that I use from time to time on a project, like, and mine aren't nearly on the scale of that of, you know, necessarily a huge Warner Brother film at this point. But it takes a lot of time because you're usually on very tight deadlines. It's kind of incredible how music always seems to be at the last minute, and
everything. It's the last thing people. They're just like, it's an afterthought.
Yes.
It's like, oh, we'll do it, and then the music will be fun, and it'll be
and then oh wait, no, and actually we need it like in, you know, an entire score in 2 weeks, and just you know, it's fine. Get it recorded.
You
mixed,
can do
and
that,
all
right?
Of it. Yeah.
You don't. That's not an issue.
And then you don't sleep, and then
yeah, it is that. Yeah, music is, people that aren't in music have such a funny perception of music. Like, it's just, I don't think they just think about it in the scale of what it actually like is to do.
It takes a lot of experience, I've found now. I think now being freelance for however many years now that I have been, is being able to set realistic expectations for the directors, the producers, being able to relay, you know, exactly what you need to achieve what they're looking for, and also knowing how to compose in a way that suits the budgets and the times you're given. Because if you're only given, you know, I'm on a project right now where you're kind of coming in and having to work very quickly to get a bunch of music done, you're not going to go and willingly choose to go and write very complicated orchestral, very micro detailed style. You need to think outside the box. And I kind of like those parameters, because I like having parameters writing with music, because, you know, I don't need 1,000 tracks in front of me. Like that's too many options then. So from the very get-go, you start to just go, all right, this is the sound palette I'm working in, and, you know, curve it to make sense for what you're given you know, on that project.
Yeah, I had a teacher, an amazing drummer, that I sort of learned that lesson from him. The idea of like working within a set of limits can make you more creative than just if you could do whatever. And it's like an infinite amount of, you could do whatever. It's like, sure, it's easy to, you know, just keep doing things, keep adding. It's like the difficult part is like boiling all that down to like simplicity. And I agree, like working within parameters, limits. It's like, it also, you know, I guess it might depend on the person, but it's like, okay, this is where we are, I can travel further down this road easier versus like getting caught up on anything.
The tiny, I mean, I become so obsessed with little details, and I've done enough now to recognize sometimes those little details don't actually come across.
You won't even hear
in
them.
the dub. You won't hear them, and so it's not worth wasting your time doing that if you don't have the time to do so.
Yeah.
On like the project right now, it's like, going into it, I knew that I could very easily make this way more complicated for myself, and I kind of did a little bit, but I tried to curve it, and I just said, all right, the score is going to be a ton of cello noises. I don't know how to play a cello at all, so I got a cello, and I like spent a day and a half just making every weird sound, shorts, like little motifs and things, then chopped everything up, timed it all, put it into keys, and go, all right, this is kind of like your toolkit. This will be your basis for basically the entire score. You can add to this, but like, this is what you're pulling from. And it's made it very, I don't want to say easy, but it's made it a lot more manageable to get through 3.5 hours of music very quickly.
Yeah.
When I'm telling myself, this is all you get.
Yeah.
No more adding any more instruments. You don't get anything else. This is what you get.
Yeah. No, I mean, you know, there's no rules and all of that, but it's like the real simple, pure ideas I find often are like the most compelling. Okay, so I was thinking a second ago, before we continue down the path, I was curious what that process looked like for you in coming down here, getting Logic, starting to program, coming from like just like a, you know, instrumentalist, writing as an instrumentalist to background to like developing like basically like your music production ear and music production skill as far as like making those ideas instead of making them they sound shitty in finale, like taking those and like making it sound like presentable.
How? I feel like
was it like
to be
learning
honest,
a new instrument?
To be honest, it just started to feel very natural to me to kind of just. I'm such a visual person, and so when I see something on the screen, I'm immediately thinking about texture, or I'm thinking about a pitch or instrumentation, something. It to me it just has to be instinctual of how I'm feeling. It's you know, this is, you're writing music, but you're writing music that's serving a purpose. It's not necessarily meant to be standalone.
Yeah.
So you're supporting the story on the screen, and so I feel like I start to see it in colors and textures and whatnot, and just start putting. I think the hardest thing is just putting down ideas and like committing to something at the very beginning. And I feel like I've become better at you just got to start putting something down. Don't worry if it's perfect yet.
Yeah.
And whatnot. But I think I mentioned earlier, it's like I was in gymnastics, I was in fine art, and I think it kind of feels like a culmination of all of it. I love the way a body moves, and I become obsessed with, you know, how do you represent body movement, which is people on a screen moving in an environment. How do you craft, these colors that are on the screen to something that the audience is hearing. It just all feels very connected, I guess. Right. I never want the music to feel like it's taking you out of the scene. I never want you to notice it unless I want you to notice it in that moment. And I feel like I also never want to repeat myself or try to give you something that you've heard before. I think a lot of just so much content that comes out. I've done a lot of nature documentaries. Coming into it, there was a whole sound to nature documentaries. It was big orchestral. And doing the first one, I knew that we wanted to like push the boundaries of like, does it have to be just strictly orchestra we're hearing? Like, what else can we do? And now, having done quite a few nature documentaries, it becomes more and more challenging, but each time going, well, what do I do this time? That's how do you score penguins for the fourth time, but not score them like you did 3 other times.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's exciting to me. It makes it more difficult, I feel like, on yourself to not allow yourself to fall into easy tropes with that. But I think that's why we're in this, to kind of push yourself musically and explore things. Yeah.
On that, I've pretty sure I've seen every nature documentary that you have composed, including Planet Earth, which is some of the best. I mean, that's cream of the crop nature docs, So
was that like the first?
That was the first one.
The first one.
Yeah.
So
and so it was. Remind me. Was it the
Planet Earth 2?
2. Yeah.
10 years on, I think, or 10 or 15 years on from the original one.
And it took them that long to shoot it, right? I mean, it takes about a decade to shoot all that, right?
It definitely takes them a couple of years. I think it took them like 4 or 5 years to shoot it. They waited until technology jumped up. I think that's why that program, I think, was as successful as it was. There was such a big jump in technology from the first to the second that it allowed them to capture these moments in a much different way. And they also just had an amazing team of storytellers on it.
What was your favorite episode that you got to compose for that season?
I really liked the city episode.
Yeah?
I think I just was... it was the last episode we did.
Yep.
So I think you're just kind of in celebratory mode. You're like, yes, we're almost there. I think that was I think that was just my favorite because I appreciate that they took that risk to go there and not show us a jungle. Like we're showing us something that we can very much look out our backyard and see.
Yeah.
For a lot of us. And I think that's why those programs are so important. And I think that's what they've been doing with the most recent ones is, you can't just go to a remote island anymore and show these beautiful animals. I think it's an element of it, but in order for people to care, you have to be able to have them relate to it in some way. And, seeing things that you can see or like, people need to be able to relate to something on a personal level for them to care. That's just
For sure.
in general.
Yeah, on a mass
so
scale.
it's, people can go, that sloth is cute, but are they going to want to go and, recycle because of it or whatnot? Like, how do you find those ways to do that? And I think that's why I've really appreciated being a part of those programs and even just documentaries in general, because, working in the entertainment industry, it is entertainment. It's we're not curing cancer here, but I do feel like I've been lucky enough to be a part of programs that have instilled some change in the world, or at least having some sort of impact. And
sure.
so it gives you, I think, that much extra emotional push to be on it when you're writing the music, to go, I want to do the best job I can because I think the program's important and it's speaking to something important that
gotta really make the people emotional at the desired spot.
Yeah.
Have you met David Attenborough?
I have.
Is he just a treasure?
He's just like everybody's grandpa, who's just this like kind man who just has done amazing things for the world.
That's awesome.
I think his career is astonishing. Like, I loved... Did you score the documentary about his life?
No, but that was a very good one.
That was awesome.
Yes.
And I didn't realize, clearly, yeah, sure. It makes sense that he had been doing this for a long time, but it's amazing to just see him when he's in his teens or 20s or whatever, just going all the way back.
That documentary was fascinating just because I loved the figures they put on, what is it? I think it was a life on our planet, on this planet or something.
Yes.
And they would put the figures, and just within his lifetime, showing how much of the natural world has disappeared over time. And I was just like, it would just make me emotional watching it. And just Jesus.
They say never meet your heroes, but that's one that I'm like,
you can meet him.
He's the same.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to meet him. Yeah.
He has the perfect voice.
Oh, man.
Like, the perfect voice.
It's the best.
Yeah. So out of all of the documentaries, which one was the most, like, educational to you individually?
I'd say beyond the nature programs, I've been a part of, I've just finished up a third one now. We did a documentary called Winter on Fire, which is about the revolution that happened in Ukraine in Maidan in, hopefully I'm getting this right, 2014. And it was actually the first film I ever did on my own.
Wow.
And it did very well, got nominated for an Oscar and things like that.
Nice.
It's on Netflix. And we got to go to Ukraine. I went to Kiev, met the president there. We presented it.
Wow.
And it was a very emotional experience because you met a lot of people that were on the screen that had lost people within the conflict. And seeing how much it mattered to them to see them on a screen, to see that we were calling attention to what was going on in that country, really meant something to them. Things took a turn after that. It was a very uplifting end to the documentary because they did achieve their goal over this 93 days of kind of overturning the government, but it unfortunately turned, and as I think we all know now, the state of Ukraine, So when the invasion happened, the same director picked up camera crew and they went and shot it. And we made a second one, it'll be 2 years ago now, called Freedom on Fire. And that was like a very fast pace. Like they would bring in new footage. I would just immediately score it. And we assembled it within like 5 or 6 months.
Wow.
Right at Venice Film Festival and whatnot. And that one, I just got news from that. Like that had a great impact because there was a wife in it who, her and her child, they were trapped under a basement for, I can't remember exactly how many days, of like very little food or water. Her husband was captured, and for like 2.5 years, he had been captured, and he was just returned this week.
Wow.
And
crazy.
she's attributing the fact that the documentary was like shining a light on where him being missing and things, and it had been shown to government officials that they were taking more action to go and try to find him. So, again, it feels like you're a part of something that is much bigger than yourself working on these, that make it far more worthwhile.
For sure.
And
wow.
now we've just finished a third one that focuses on how children in Ukraine are affected by the war and how that affects them growing up and what they go through. So they're very heavy documentaries, but I feel very proud to be a part of them.
What do you having some inside scoop in there? How do you think it's going over there? What's the deal?
I mean, that's what's so when the second one happened, I mean, I called the director. I just said, hey, are you doing anything? Because I want to I was seeing all these people that I had met in Ukraine posting on like Facebook that they were trying to get out of Ukraine. And does anyone have a car? Like, my mom is trapped, this, that. And it was just horrific to see. And again, people have to have it matter more personally to them, I think, for people to really truly care. And it was hard to see these people that I had sat across a dinner table with and now see that happening. So it's still going on, just because it's not talked about in the news now. It doesn't mean the whole time we've been making it, the editor kept having to not be able to work because electricity was shut off in their entire city. Because their parents were bombed and they had to go and try to get them out. Like nothing's changed from how it started. We just don't talk about it because there's obviously all these other things happening in the world at the same time, and people's attention span can only last so long with these. But these are people's lives that they deal with every single day still. And, and I think that's why this new one is so interesting, because it is focusing on these kids who this is long-lasting impressions with them. You have children that got caught in a bomb just being at a grocery store, and now they have no legs. And they're in prosthetics, and they were gymnasts, and now they're trying to do gymnastics again, and things like that. Like, this is, the long-lasting things that are happening, and it affects people in many different ways too. You're gonna have people that try to still stay positive. You have people that have a hatred towards Russia and want to go join the army and go be a part of the army and kill people. Like, it's so formed at that age that it's pretty wild.
It's amazing the stronghold that Putin has over people. I mean, I have talked to even some Russian friends that I know from here, even as recently, just like, there's just like we have MAGA Trumpism over here. It's just a cult of personality, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know a lot about it, but it just seems crazy watching from afar, like how insane he is. Like,
this was actually this is like a way totally different set of context, but it was like pretty enlightening. We went to a Angel City soccer game a couple weeks ago. She was like a big soccer player, all growing up in college and stuff, and we went to the soccer game, and like the refs were like making like some pretty suspect calls, and like the crowd was starting to get like really pissed and stuff.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, this one dude was tripping. Anyways, like at one point, like, the whole stadium's like chanting like these like
fuck the refs.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Refs, you suck.
And I'm
Refs,
like,
you suck.
yeah, that's what it was. I was like, oh, I completely see how like mobs can happen. Like it's like humans are. We think we are so much more evolved than we actually
We
are.
are just a fucking animal.
Literally,
Yeah.
Very
like,
easily
a
incitable
pretty
to do
basic
something.
one at that. Like we're not. We're just
Act on emotion,
yeah,
always.
like, and like just like this group mentality that can take over.
Mm-hmm.
Another really crazy book that I read within the last year. I'm spacing on the name of it now. But it was it's nonfiction. It was basically about the U.S. ambassador in Germany in the 1930s, like when Hitler and the Nazis were taking power, and just like how just like little by little, like it like seeped into the culture and the government, and just how people went along with it and were out of fear and whatever other reasons. And that was also the crazy thing too, like anti-Semitism even outside of the Nazi thing was like really present. Like people were like really critical of Jewish people, like even outside like the extreme Nazi thing. And it's just so crazy how the group thing can completely brainwash an individual.
I mean, that's what it is. I can't remember what documentary it was that I watched about this. I had not realized it when I watched this a few years ago. Of based off of where you live is going to be, when you Google something, you're going to get different results than someone who lives elsewhere.
Wow.
You know, if you live in a place where people are climate change doesn't exist, you Google about climate change, those are going to be the articles you see. I just didn't understand that was the case.
Yeah, that
until
is
watching.
crazy.
I'm trying to remember what this documentary was called, but it's just like, I mean, that's how this functions. It's in Russia, you're only given the information that's being told to you. So
Yeah.
they have a bunch of kids that are being trapped over there that are being told Ukraine doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And if you're not told otherwise, that's all they know. Ukraine
Yeah.
doesn't exist anymore. Like, and they don't have access to any other information.
Yeah.
And that's the world we live in at this
For
point.
sure.
It's like the U.S. It's like depending on where you live, is the information you're going to be given, and that's what you're going to
I wonder
believe.
how that's going to change in the future with like Starlink and global broadband internet access, you know, and like
Well, it's still all algorithm, at least like
Right.
in like the
Yeah.
Western, it's like algorithm to sell ads. Like it's
Yeah.
all about selling.
But I'm just mean
Yeah.
access to information. Like North Korea has their own internet, and Russia blocks people from seeing the rest of the world. But I just wonder how the technology will change, and like maybe it would be something that they just can't really control the access to information. If it's, you know, we're right, isn't like the Starlink company or Elon's thing supposed to just be like free access
internet.
to the world?
yeah.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure there's still barriers.
But like, I guess it
but,
depends
yeah.
on how you use it then. Because like if you use Google, you're gonna be getting
That's gonna
filtered
tether
through
it to your
Google's
location,
like
yeah.
algorithmic
Yeah.
sort of system. And like this was one of the best things I've seen in a long time. We went to Vegas like a month and a half ago for one of our old
yeah.
friends' weddings. We went to the Sphere and saw.
Oh, you went to that?
And saw the Aronofsky movie Postcard from Earth. It was
So good.
fucking amazing.
Okay, because I've heard mixed things of people like, you sit there and you can't, it's not actually all around you, because I sat on the side and there was the side.
Well, we did have pretty good seats.
we had good seats,
Like
yeah.
we were fairly centered
in the middle. Yeah.
So like
I want to see it. It
Oh,
looks,
it
You have
was
to
like
tilt,
such a cool
I mean, yeah, I
experience.
could tilt my head back like that and still see a screen.
it was amazing.
Okay, cool.
Like it was like, I mean, also like, I mean, the viewing experience is incredible. Like the Sphere, but the movie is done.
It's good.
So well.
Yeah.
It's a nature documentary. I also thought it was so ironic. It's like this is like definitely something to like, you know, warn the human race. Like
Yeah.
we're fucking up in the middle of Vegas, which is like the
Yeah.
peak
Yeah.
of just like human destruction.
Just garbage.
Yeah, just like the amount of power that building must use is just crazy.
Well, the if you remember your first time you saw an IMAX,
yeah.
this is
100 times that.
Oh yeah, it's like insane.
Massive.
It is insane, and the story is so
Mad
good,
Max.
and it was really incredible, and the score was
Beautiful.
so fire.
Who did that?
It was like a collective,
Right, it was the collective. That
Well,
collective.
I forget the name,
Yeah.
but it's like a handful of
Starts with
different
yeah, yeah.
maybe E
composers. But like, I looked it up because I was like, "Who's
Yeah, we
that?"
looked it up.
And
Yeah.
then it was like a handful.
I think
of
Japanese.
Yeah,
part
he
of
was
it?
one
Yeah.
of them, and there's a few of others, but it was like so good. I was like, this is one
Really
of the
good.
best things I've seen in a long time.
That kind of stuff excites me. Like there's so many mediums to like write music for and things that I think people forget to, like, if you get too narrow-minded with things, that like I think that's like to your detriment.
For
I would
sure.
love to. I love doing stuff for dance. I love doing stuff for live productions.
Yeah.
Anything that's like pushing boundaries with things.
Totally.
I'd want to try.
Yeah,
Like
100%. I remember you saying you're a big Cirque du Soleil fan.
mildly obsessed.
Yeah. Like, is that like
I've
how?
never seen it.
Let's talk Cirque du Soleil.
Let's talk about it.
So, how could you go to Vegas and not see a
Well,
Cirque du
we
Soleil
just went
show?
together and we saw
My
him
mom
just,
saw
Well,
it.
get back in the car and get back
Get
over
back-
there.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
What are we doing at this podcast? Get to Cirque du
We're
Soleil.
going to Vegas.
Ew.
No, I just have said they are. I mean, their gymnastics, their art,
Well,
their
there you
music,
go.
they're everything.
That's right. The
It's
Gymnastics
just
element.
incredible.
Should've thought
I
about
mean,
that.
they've had a rough. It's been a rough couple of years now with them. Like, pandemic was not great for them. I think since then, I think they, like everything, you have this great thing and it lasts however long that feels timeless, and then you have to kind of keep pushing limits and keep pushing boundaries, and they keep coming out with new shows, and I think they're been trying to do different things. I think they've personally gone in the wrong direction. They're trying to capitalize on IP, or have a Michael Jackson show, or do a
Yeah.
country show. It just feels taking away from, to me, what makes them them.
Would
So
you ever
unique.
have an interest in being involved in something like that?
Oh,
like,
I pitched.
Given your background?
I have pitched. I have tried.
That'll happen at
I
some
was
point.
I was a runner-up to do a show.
Really?
Really?
Yes, I was so close. I was only 22 at the time, so I was too young, I think. I
But
I could see that happening
were
in the
you,
future.
Were you meaning like to perform in it, or to direct it, or to
write the music for it.
right? Because I'm thinking just like conceptually, you've got the tools for both sides of it. Not only the
trust me, I
choreography,
would happily. I mean, I would. Someone just give me a bunch of money and tell me go
Yeah.
make a show, and I would
Right.
lose my mind. I
Right.
would have so much fun doing it. I mean, I tried towards the end of the pandemic. I actually tried to do something like that. I wrote a piece of music, and I wanted to work with a bunch of dancers. And we went to Salt Lake City with this choreographer, and we went out and like filmed a bunch of random locations. I made the costumes. I did all this stuff and had this weird. There was like puppetry. There was like shadow play. There was. I had way too much fun doing it, and I spent way too much money, and I will never get that money
That's
from
okay.
it. But it was such
Money's
a
fake
rewarding
anyways.
experience, and I go, okay, someone give me money, and I'll spend their money next time doing
give
it.
a gay some costumes and a green light, and he'll just go right.
I went to
down.
a fabric store. I was just draping people in costumes. It was so fun. It was so
no
weird.
budget, you say?
That's what I told myself. You have no budget. You can just do what you want.
awesome.
No, it's no. I would love an opportunity like that. I just think we need to be celebrating that more. The U.S. is terrible at that. We don't fund those things as much as other countries do, and it's as much as I said, like, we're not curing cancer and whatnot, as we all know in this industry. It's also, you can't just eliminate arts and entertainment either from our
One
world.
might argue
it's important.
you are curing cancer, because by providing joy and euphoria in people's minds, you could in fact
You're inspiring the cancer curers.
There we go.
Well,
Yeah.
you could
It's all connected.
It's all
we're
connected,
We're all
yes.
connected.
you could be blocking the negative things that actually do cause cancer
Right.
in people's bodies. So
There we go.
yeah.
I think that's also probably me telling myself that when you're sitting there doing these absurd deadlines and you feel like you're just torturing your body, and then you have to just remind yourself, it's okay. Like, everything will be
gonna be good.
fine. It's all going to be fine. You're just too in it right now and obsessed and too tired and too emotional about it. Like, you're good.
Yeah.
Like, send it and be done.
Yeah. It's gonna be
Goddamn.
fine. We'll be able to sleep tonight or at some point.
Yeah, no, I love anything that just, I think that's where maybe I differ from some other, I can't be trapped in a studio 24/7. That doesn't bring me happiness. I don't have anything to say if I'm not out in the real world
Yeah,
too.
for sure.
So
Well,
I need
and you're a quiet guy.
I'm a very quiet. Yes.
You're an absorber.
I'm an absorber.
Sponge.
Yes. I need to be on vacations. I need to be like seeing the world. I need to like go eat amazing food, explore cultures.
Yeah.
And do all that to come back. I mean, I was just however many months ago now. I was just flipping through. It wasn't even out in the real world. I was just flipping through on Instagram, and I came across this like post from Nat Geo. And it was these really colorful, weird costumes in Slovenia of these like, they're kind of dressed as like monsters, and it's part of this like festival culture they do at the end of winter. They dress up in these very colorful monster costumes. They run through the streets of this like village, and they're throwing like socks filled with chalk at kids. They're like kidnapping them in quotations, like they're and
Kidnap the kids.
Yeah, and they have like big cowbells on, and they're like waking up spring from
Nice.
winter. And I don't know what it was, that just the few images gave me a whole idea for like a whole album I wanted to do. And so
nice.
I've kind of run with that. I have like 6-7 songs in at this point about like how every culture has monsters and how we, that as a child with our imagination and playing with that. And so it's kind of set me down a path. But I mean, that just came from something I had never heard of, never seen before. And like the moment I saw it, I was like, yep, that's me. This is. And then within a day, I like had made a whole mood board, made a bunch of cutouts. I was like, it's in my studio, bought a bunch of old like parade drum instruments and things like that. And I was like, here we go, having ideas.
Amazing.
So
Inspo bug was caught.
yes, absolutely. So I mean, but I'm not gonna get that just sitting in front of my computer, like banging things out, nonstop.
Reading Reddit.
Reading Reddit.
Love Reddit.
Yeah, Reddit's crazy. But we were talking about this on a recent episode. Like, definitely have gone through some major personal growth the last couple years, and like some rough mental times, and like I don't do great at being creative when I'm feeling fucked up. Like, I know a lot of people, like, when they're sad and shit, or like make their best thing. I kind of could become paralyzed, like, when I'm like in a hole. Like, I'm like, I mean, I can still sit down, but like, I don't think I'm making anything great. Like, I feel like I'm making good stuff when I'm like in a
Good headspace. I hear that. Yeah.
But I definitely realize that like, after going through that and I come back to making music, I've got like a different lens or perspective or like bag of tricks to pull from, you could say. It's like going through life experience, good, bad, whatever. It brings it brings everything to the creative practice.
No, absolutely. I mean, do you guys get burnout?
Yeah.
Get burnout.
I feel like I get that bad. After every project, I'm just like, I never want to work again. And
Well,
then
it's-
I need a break. I
it's
need
funny
time.
I have a friend who recently, this is a longer story, but he kind of had to pivot from being a music director, like a Broadway music director, because he injured his wrist and basically like couldn't play anymore, and basically pivoted to, he's kind of doing these like corporate education systems, and he talks about burnout and how like perfectionism and burnout are like really tied together. And it's like that like perfectionist thing can like wear you out, like that can like really, and that was another thing I realized in therapy over the last year, was like I had no idea before, but like I've got, not like I have like rituals necessarily, but I've got like obsessive compulsive behaviors. And it's like, though that perfectionism, whatever, those things, when they're not kept in check, can like totally wear you down and like burn you out.
Yeah.
I have burnout from like, because I do live performances so much, and that's how I earn most of my living. And then when it comes to doing the creative part time, I'm just like, I'm tired. Like I just gigged a lot, or I worked a lot, you know?
Right.
Yeah, that's where mine stems from. You were going to say.
No, just,
Carefully
I mean, but in that regard, though, I think we have to always remind ourselves, especially if you're doing like an album or you're you know, something like that. I mean, no one's waiting for your next album. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You don't have to push it out when, you know, you're not do it when you're ready to do it. It's meant to be creative. It's meant to be art. You know, have it happen when you're ready to have it happen. Obviously, push yourself so you're not just, it'll happen in the next 20 years kind of thing. But, you know, I feel like it's also okay to not be ready in the right mindset to do something. And I mean, if I have one problem with like the film music industry aspect of it, is I do think that they don't always treat the music as the art form it is. There's always these extreme deadlines that happen, and there's so much of a hurry up and wait. You sit there and rush and you get through, and then you realize, oh wait, now they're still fixing this and you still have more time. And it's just, I just wish that I don't know, they spend so much money elsewhere that sometimes it's like, wow, why don't you just give a proper time to people to do the job? I don't see how this is sustainable for anyone to want to do music so quickly just to meet these arbitrary deadlines. And, you know, it made a little more sense if your budgets were higher, but when your budgets are constantly going down and you don't have the royalties that are earning in from these streamers as much as it used to and whatnot, then I mean, I've done so many projects now where I make $0. I'm hiring people just to get the project out in time. I'm hiring it just to achieve what I need to do to get the project across the finish line. And I go, great, that didn't earn me anything. I got to now go quickly take on another one just to keep myself afloat. And I feel like I shouldn't be in that position at this point if I'm doing projects that, you know, are, it's not like they're just completely independent projects. They should have a budget behind them. So I've also become a little more outspoken with, no, we need more money to do this. And you're not going to get that if you don't have the budget to do it. Period.
Tell them.
It's not worth me spending my own money anymore to get your project across the finish line.
Well, that is the thing that us music makers don't really have, is a real union to enforce those things.
No, we don't.
And
we need one.
I don't have to go into this, but I have a major issue with the AFM, and I think that they're almost hurting musicians more than they're helping them. But like, we don't have a SAG, we don't have a WGA, like, and so it's like, we have to make that stance for ourselves.
That's why it's called the music industry. It's not. You're not just an artist. You do have to be business savvy to some extent, which I am terrible at. Just call my husband in to help me. He's just like, let's go through finances. I was like, let's not.
Let's create first. Let's play. No, I totally feel that. So, but I do. You have done performance. I remember you saying that you played with Hans on some of his tours, like back.
I
in the
didn't do
day?
his tours. I only did the Oscars. With him.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was more shows than that. Got it.
I would do live. I think it's. But like, there's got to be dancers. There's got to be a whole thing. It's got to be a whole spectacle.
It's gotta be
it cannot just be me.
All or nothing.
On a piano. I can't do what you do. No, thank you. That's terrifying.
Are you? But I know you've put out a lot of your own, your own music outside of scores like attached to projects. Are you working on more of that right now?
Yeah, that album, like I said, I'm in the middle of.
Is it? Are you singing on it as well, or is it instrumental music?
I'm trying to sing on
Yeah.
Nice.
nervously.
Let's go.
Great.
I bet it's
You
very
learn opera.
but it's okay. I am not a singer. I cannot sing well. So it is more like Sigur Rós style,
Nice.
where
Nice.
it's
Love
tune
Sigur
it,
Rós.
do weird sounds.
Yeah.
Just go
I
rent a-
am trying to do more song structure with it though. So in my head, at least, it's very like indie folk, like Monsters and Men meets Sigur Rós.
Guys, just
Cool.
go rent a house in Iceland
Yeah.
before you
I
go
know.
to London. And
What
just
is it?
Set up.
Everyone in Iceland just does amazing music.
Yeah,
They just,
really.
it just their environment, I
Yeah.
think, just allows them to just explore. I
Yeah.
think, like, you can look out your window and just be inspired
Yeah.
to the umpteenth degree.
They're not
or whatever.
inundated with all the people.
No,
They just like they've
are.
got like less than 1 million people or something that like live there. Like it is cold.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
cold, but gotta
Now,
have some kind of
A
sacrifice.
few years ago now, I did the reboot of Queer as Folk. That was like the first time I think I ever recorded myself singing, because there was a moment when they wanted basically a vocal, and I had to deliver it the next morning. I
Yeah.
just didn't have a choice. And
It's often how the best things can happen.
yeah, it kind of just opened up this like space of, okay, you can sing weird, like you can do that, and it's not, you can make that work, and that could be another instrument you explore. And so, I mean, I did a piece a few months back where it was basically built mostly from vocals. Again, just trying to, it was meant to be very raw and weird sounding with it. I wasn't trying to be some pop singer here with them. But I mean, I think that was very much has been attributed to being gay, and the sound of my voice has always been a thing. Like if I get on the phone, I will be called madam most of the time. And it
That
is
has happened to
something
me
that
a
I get.
lot.
I've been always so self-conscious of. Always. Like I mean, people call it my phone voice because I will immediately try to lower the tone of my voice when I answer the phone if I don't know who it is. Just to try to have a deeper voice, and they still call me madam. I'm like, fuck. Like, I went down 3 octaves, and we're still doing this.
It's a gay epidemic.
Yes.
We don't know why.
We don't-
We're not sure.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I don't know.
So I just don't think I ever liked the sound of my voice. Particularly, I don't like the sound of my voice when I hear it back,
Same.
and it's just
That's
it makes
I think
me
that's most. That's
uncomfortable
yeah.
because it
Well,
doesn't sound like.
You
I guess-
hear it in your head.
Yeah. And I think then having so many people tell you don't sound like, I guess, for me, identifying as a male, sound like a male, it just makes me that much more aware of it. So I think at least working on something like A Queer as Folk, where that didn't matter in that moment, it just gave me a little bit of a confidence booster to be like, okay, you can do this and be okay with it, and people didn't hate it, so run with that
Yeah.
a bit more. So
Well, it's like I'm like totally spacing on an example, but you hear so often how like some of the best singers like don't like their voice. Like it's like they just did it as a means because they had to, but like they're like I wish I could think of an example, but like they end up being like total like definitive voices
Right.
that like culture loves and relates to.
I mean, songwriting's fascinating. Like, I had never written a song before. I sat down with you, and we tried to do that one for Malika the Lion Queen, which, by the way, I almost got it placed within the last month. It was almost on the DNC.
It'll land. Oh, nice.
It went to Kamala's
find a life somewhere.
team,
Cool.
and they really liked it, and they were going to use it for a video package, and then it
Damn.
didn't get used. I was like, God damn it! We were
Well-
like literally that close. They called with we need it in 2 hours.
Wow.
I was like, and I didn't have anything, and I don't know what it was. I just remembered. I was like, I'm gonna just chuck them that song. Maybe that will work.
Yeah.
And they really liked it, and they're like, oh, I really think this might work, and they can play into the Beyonce song really well. I was like, yeah, go.
Perfect.
Go.
Go.
And then like my agent was like, we don't know if they're going to use it. They're not going to tell us. Like we just have to watch and know.
Yeah.
They didn't. So I was like, God damn it.
It's dope. It'll find a life somewhere at some point.
But like, I think that is what set my brain off into it's a different hat to put on to write a song. Like it's not score. It's a much different way to work than scoring. And I find it so much more hard. I don't know how you guys do it. It's like, I'm trying right now. And it's you have to think a lot differently. You can't overstuff shit. You can't go crazy with it. You have to like really hone in on what it is you're doing. And
it's for sure another way of storytelling. I mean, there is. Rick, God damn it!
Rick.
There is some parallel, but there's also a lot of you're exercising different parts. Of
Also, just breaking down that wall of like, this is stupid or this doesn't like you really. I've learned way more recently to like. Just like not second guess, just like, what are you feeling? What's the emotion? Just describe it. Just say it. It doesn't have to be fucking, the greatest lyric ever.
Bob
Sometimes
Dylan
the
lyrics.
next thing that follows might be the greatest thing,
Right.
and like tie it all together. Or you may think of something later on and goes, oh no, I'll change that now. Now I'm more
Right.
clear about what I'm doing. Yeah.
I think what can be hard in songwriting is like what you're saying is like putting too much pressure on it.
Yeah.
It's like it's similar to it's similar to just being creative in general. It's like not overthinking it is like the key to it. Is just to it doesn't even have to make sense necessarily. Like just to allow it to whatever it is, allow it to come through. And you can always later, if you're like a day or two, a week later, you're like, I don't really like that lyric. You can go change it, but like in that moment, similar like when you're getting the picture for the first time and you're sort of just allowing that instinct to come through. That is, I think, very similar to songwriting. It's just like whatever's flowing, just let that flow.
Right.
And then you can change whatever later, but just like allow it to
just happen.
Be what it wants to be.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to make sense. Like it can literally make zero sense and that's totally okay.
Right.
Like
from an artsy standpoint, I think that's like very freeing to just like do that and just not think as much.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what I've been trying to do with this album. It's just like, just put down ideas.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Like, get it down, move on to the next thing. Put
Totally.
it down, like write twice as many songs, basically, and then figure out what's actually working from it. I mean, the lyrics is a whole other thing. I can't even.
It's hard.
I'm gonna have someone help me. I'm having someone help me with lyrics because, I mean, lyrics can be very cheesy, but that's also what makes them work too. So it's
the
like
hardest
you have to
part.
find that
It's always
balance
the
of being
hardest part.
clever
Yeah.
and also like it's a little bit of cheeseball, but
Yeah.
like you like the
I
cheeseball.
struggle with
Exactly.
making every new song that I'm trying to create my magnum opus, and then that puts a lot of pressure
Well, it is.
for it to be.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Everyone is.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it really challenging. And
Right.
it's always, for me, it's like honing in on that main concept or like really maybe being ethereal yet descriptive with your lyrical content. It's
Right.
like, let's just write a once in a generation pop tune every time, right?
just write the
That's
next
it.
greatest thing ever.
Let's write Wonderwall. Yeah. Yeah. So that's my goal every time. But
Yeah.
It's a good goal.
Small goal.
I kind of have you seen Rick Rubin's book?
No.
It actually talks about this idea in a really nice way. He puts it in a really simple way where he kind of just breaks down the different steps in the creative process. Like the first one is just spit it out. Let it be whatever it is, like the play part, just the have fun part, like the no consequence part. And then the second part is like the refinement, the tuning, kind of being like, okay, what is this? What does this want to be? And then doing that. And then it's like the finishing part and like showing it to friends part. Like, and like, then it's like it's like when you play when you're sitting alone working on something, you have that perspective. But then as soon as you bring somebody into your space and you play that with them, you get a totally different experience with
Yeah.
it. And then it's like you take that and then adjust there. But it's a good book, and it's a really easy read, and it just like breaks down that process in a really nice, digestible, like kind of anxiety relieving
Right.
sort of way.
I mean, I think that's why what appeals me a bit more about, I guess, songwriting aspect is it does feel like it's far more collaborative feeling than writing the picture a lot of
Yeah.
time. I mean, I rented a studio out and we just went in for 3 days and just like hit a bunch of percussion and like did weird things without much of a plan. But there was like a group of us in there and it was like fun to do that. And I
Totally.
don't get to do that very often.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why I'm also trying to do this as well, of just try to like get myself more comfortable with being around other people, collaborate with people, break out of it, not sitting there and like consuming yourself with just by yourself.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's far more fun to be collaborate with people on
For
things.
sure. And it's like whenever you collaborate with people, for me at least, you always take away like a little different perspective on like how to do something. It's like even if you're doing like a task of what you're familiar with doing, whether it's writing for XYZ instrument or writing a song, it's like you bring somebody in, or you're with somebody who you're doing the same thing, but everybody has their own sort of way of doing things. It's like you learn so much from collaborating.
Absolutely.
And then that in turn like influences how you create and all of that. So yeah, collaboration is like
Human connection, man. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's like a thing.
yeah.
Right?
I was talking to a therapist about this the other day. It's like literally our entire existence is like rooted in like relationships, like we're such a social species, but it's also like one of the most difficult things for like our species is like actually like managing relationships, like whether it's romantic or whatever, but it's like also what we're like literally like centered
Right.
around. It's like such a crazy paradox, irony.
I'm bad at it. I'm bad at managing.
It's
I just
hard.
I get overwhelmed, or I just like get in my space, and I was like, I don't want to see anyone for like 2 months. Like, don't
Yeah.
talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
good right now.
I'm pretty introverted. Like, I like the people that like I'm really close with. Like, I'm not like I'm definitely not the LA type of like going out and doing like the LA like fucking thing. Like, I'm like I love being here. I love my routine. Wake up, come here, go back home. Like, I love that. And like a few people come over here, that's great. Like
Social time.
That's great.
I feel like that's not you though.
It is to an
Oh,
extent,
it is.
actually. Yeah, I can be pretty social. But
It needs your relaxed time.
I love to relax.
Right.
Yeah, I've got the best bed. I've got a huge screen with surround sound in front of that said bed, and it's just
Building
Got your
Documentary.
YouTube
That's
subscription.
that's my good space. Yeah, I do actually too like to. I mean, just I have a lovely piano at home. I like to like play through like relax and play through like a bunch of classical music. Like as of lately, that's how I've like relaxed and just like done something that's I enjoy, that's productive, that's not social.
Right.
But I do like to go out. I like a good martini from a hotel bar, like you were saying.
Very
And-
important.
Yeah, very important. Shake that shit up right. Yeah. And
I do
But
like a
is
martini.
it dirty? Is it with a lemon twist?
It's
is
with
it
a lemon
gin? Is it
twist.
vodka?
Yours
It's-
lemon twist.
There we
What's
go.
yours?
gin lemon twist.
Very good.
What's yours?
I'll do both. I'll do a vodka or gin
Yeah.
lemon twist. You know
Yeah.
who makes a really good one? La Dolce Vita. You
La
been
Dolce
there?
Vita. Okay, no, I haven't.
Haven't.
Yeah.
It's where you go.
I
It's-
love an extra dirty martini.
Yeah.
You love an extra dirty.
Yeah,
With blue
pour
cheese
that
olives?
You're fucking
pour
filthy.
that fucking olive
Yeah.
juice in there.
Yeah.
I like a blue cheese olive. I'll take
I
the.
like
Yeah.
it's similar to a Diet Coke. I like for it to burn my
Yeah.
throat.
Just sizzle down.
The more you cut it with olive juice, doesn't burn as much.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's probably why I like it.
I think you haven't had enough because I did start with dirty martinis and then I was just like, we're just
You get
what's
tired
hap-
of it.
Yeah, like-
I'm a basic bitch.
You get tired of it. Benny?
no, that
Benny?
would be an espresso martini.
I'm a trash
Yeah.
can. I do love an espresso martini
Espresso's
too.
good. Yeah. I there's an art form too of the just the chilled martini. There's
Yeah.
not a lot to it. Are you a rinse? Do you do?
Oh
a
yeah,
rinse?
you got to do a rinse.
You do a rinse, and
It's
then,
basically like a drip and a rinse, and then you're
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
absolutely.
We need a martini night.
And
Yeah.
absolutely. And then it's elevated, of course, if the martini glass has come out of a freezer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's
I don't know if
that's
I've ever had
important.
that experience.
Yes. That's top tier. Yeah.
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 That's $30 martini.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what is it? What's the Bond drink?
Shaken, not
Vespa.
stirred.
Yeah, Vespa.
That's
yeah.
good.
Mhm.
That's both vodka and gin. Because
Yeah.
why have just
Oh.
one?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can get fucked up on both.
Twice the fun.
Well, and a gin martini or just a martini in general is just a straight martini is very economical.
Yeah.
Because you pretty much melt your face with the one, and you're like done.
You're good to go.
Like, you don't need anything else. So
Yeah.
it's great. It's a good hack to just get straight to the
But
point.
you can have two.
But
Yeah.
you can have two.
Maybe 3.
You can have 3. I used to have I was
Too
wild
many.
some years ago. Dennis and I would I don't know, over the course of a night, I'd probably have 4 martinis, maybe 5.
Just
That
got
just-
the 1,000 yards.
I
Got the
just-
Nick Cage leaving Las Vegas 1,000-yard stare.
I can't even imagine that now. It's like I would be off my face. But
Yeah, I'd be dead.
I don't drink
I'd be
as much
dead.
as I used to.
I wouldn't be. I would be throwing up. That's what. Would be
Yeah,
happening.
yeah. I haven't thrown up from alcohol in a long time.
worst.
I
The
never
worst.
have. I'm
Never,
very proud
ever.
of that.
Never have.
Never
And
have.
well
Been very
played.
close. Never have.
Impressive.
Wow.
I'm a
Yes.
yacker.
You yak. Yeah.
I
I'm
know
a
when to
yak guy.
stop. Like
Yeah.
I can feel it. I'm like, nope. You can't do it anymore.
Cut it
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of my friends have come from New York, and I feel like you guys can just drink there more.
Yeah.
Well, that's all there is to do.
You do.
Yeah, because when they all came, I was just like, I can't keep up with you guys.
Right.
You guys are just go.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
That's all
it's
there is to
crazy.
do in New York is work and drink
Yeah.
and eat.
Yeah.
Like that's it. That's all you do.
Great food.
Good food.
Yeah.
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 But yeah.
No hiking.
No
You
hiking.
can walk. You can walk.
You know, it's
No.
good food in New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We went there for Halloween 2 years ago, and then went the year after that as well. I'd never been. I'm obsessed with that place. The music, the food, the
Yeah.
culture.
One
It's
of
just
our
so cool.
one of our best friends is a listener of the pod, Emily Pilkington.
The one that just got married in
Yeah,
Vegas.
she
She lives in Vegas.
saw it. That was the Vegas trip.
Oh.
She's probably listening right now. Shout out Emily. She
Emily.
works for Mosquito Supper Club. Emily and Austin, her husband, both.
Uh-huh.
Fabulous restaurant in New Orleans. If anyone's listening,
Mosquito
It's-
Supper Club. I'll have to
It's
check it out
a
next
it's
time.
a it's a price. Just so you pay a reservation fee, and then it's just like the food comes. It's awesome,
I love
and
that.
yeah, it's a really cool concept.
Takes the pressure off.
Yeah, yeah,
Just go and enjoy it.
yeah. I think you can do the a la carte thing, but the tasting is where it's
But
at.
why would you
It's
do
like
that?
you just
Yeah.
pay the
Yeah.
fee and you
Yeah.
go there, and that's it. It comes with the wine pairing and everything. It's sensational.
Yeah.
I'll spend all my money on like food.
Yeah.
Nice food.
Yeah.
Just like I love a dining experience.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just it is an art form that it's just you put in your mouth and it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Do you guys cook?
Yeah, we've been better about cooking. Like, I mean, honestly, I think ever since the pandemic, we just got really good about cooking more
Yeah, yeah,
often
yeah.
because you had to.
Yeah.
No, I like making Japanese food a lot.
That's right. 'Cause you're part Japanese.
Core
yeah.
Japanese. Like doing that. Can make a mean curry. Can do
Yeah. Nice.
like hot pots and things like that.
Hey, I got a question for you about the curry. And if Aaron's listening to this, we got a little debate. Aaron, my friend that lives with me, makes chicken like on the stove.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like we were talking about this the other day in the context of curries. We weren't making a curry the other day. When I make food like that, I put it away after it's been cooked, and he sets it out in the wok and keeps it there for a day or two.
What do you mean a day or two? Like and
like
then eats it
non-refrigerated?
afterwards?
Yeah, and then reheats it,
Oh,
and then
that's how you
and then
fucking
eats it.
die.
That's what I thought. That's what I
No.
thought.
Okay, like What's
why they
protecting
invented
it?
invented
Like, I assume
refrigeration.
you're not keeping your place.
I don't mean to throw him under
refrigerator
the bus
temperature.
here, but I thought
At that point, you gotta salt it.
I thought I was crazy because I'm like, no, I don't want leftovers. They've been sitting out overnight. And then he's like, well, just heat them up, which I do get. Like heating something back up would you would think would zap away any, but it instantly starts to crawl with
not so
things,
simple.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like rest in peace.
what I
He probably
thought.
doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
It's been consumed by the fungus.
I
that lived on
promise
the
I
food.
didn't kill my roommate. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not.
Refrigerate your food.
That's-
Everybody refrigerate your food.
That's what
instantly.
but apparently that is customary. He is Indian, and so that maybe that is something that they do that we don't practice over here. So, I don't want to be disrespectful with that. But
Right.
It just seems like it's
Questionable.
questionable. I don't eat the leftovers.
Bacteria
Yeah.
is out there.
yeah.
Yeah, like my friend that owns a restaurant, like she's even if you set pizza out for like an hour, like an hour or two, like it's like done. Like
Oh yeah,
you-
Vanessa would die before eating food that was left out overnight. We had the power go out the last day of this heat wave.
Yeah.
The other day,
Oh.
and
Yeah.
so we came and stayed over here that night. But there was like some food, not even food. There was orange juice in the refrigerator, and she was like, I don't think I can drink that anymore. I'm like, I'm definitely drinking the orange juice. Don't throw it away.
But like, how long was the power out?
Like-
'Cause,
24 hours.
oh, well,
No,
the
I-
fridge was
You
probably
didn't- as
still
long as
cool.
you didn't open the fridge. you're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. No, it was totally fine. I drank the orange juice, and I'm good.
you're still
but-
here.
Yeah, but Vanessa's not down. She would die with some left out.
She's like a cat. Yeah,
She's a cat.
She's
for
like Hazel.
sure.
Yeah,
Sure, that's
yeah,
mother-daughter.
yeah.
Yeah, we have a cat named Hazel.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah, she's funny. They're hilarious together.
Yeah.
I appreciate cats.
Huh?
I appreciate cats.
Yeah,
they're just.
I mean, we just send each other cat videos on Instagram like multiple times a day,
That's
every
a
day.
relationship.
Yeah.
That's what relationships
That's
are.
what it looks
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it circles around.
I find this interesting. So do you. Awesome. Let's get married. The end. Yeah.
Great.
Great.
Glad
You
we're-
really
we're on the
don't
same
need anything
page.
else in
Yeah.
common.
No, you don't. You don't. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Well, okay, so martini night soon.
Yeah. And let's write a song together.
Let's write
I
a
think
song.
all our powers combined
Yeah,
can
that
do
sounds
100%.
Yeah.
terrifying. Let's do
Brennan's
it.
Yeah.
working on a record right now.
Yeah, I
so
know.
we should do like a Sugar Roast type
it. Absolutely.
song
And I'll just go
for the record.
Yes, that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
And that is more in tune than I will ever be.
So we have Melodyne.
Yeah. Next time I see you up at the Beverly Wilshire, though, you're getting up there and singing, and I don't let anyone sing.
I'm sloshing with 2 martinis. Kind of like, yeah.
Billy Joel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jasha, what do you have coming up? What should the people be on the lookout for?
Well, it's that 3rd Ukraine doc that I just finished, which I don't know when it's coming out yet. I did do another doc as well. They're figuring out distribution. It was based off of the podcast American Skyjacker, of this man who hijacked airplanes in the 60s, and jumps out the plane with
Not
cash.
the DB Cooper
Nice.
thing,
Yeah.
right? That's him. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he's in it, but it's not DB Cooper. It was someone who inspired by DB Cooper.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm not sure when that's coming out yet. And then also this Netflix doc series whenever I finish it in
Cool.
Nice.
the next few months.
All right,
And
everybody.
they can find you at Jasha
Klebe,
Klebe, Klebe,
correct. Yes.
and Joshua was the Jasha.
Jasha. Yes.
Link in description.
There you go. They'll find
There we
it.
go.
Yeah.
Jasha, thank you.
Thanks so
This
much.
is
Thank you
awesome.
so much
This is
for
an
having me.
honor.
Yeah.
You're a legend. And Martini Night, and
Yes.
Yeah.
we'll do another one soon.
Great. Sounds good.
Ben and Bren Show. See you guys next time.
Stuff you know and stuff you don't. It's the Ben and Bren Show.